Mm, 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 mm. All right. Making sure I didn't have any lipstick on my teeth there. Oh my gosh. Hello. Happy Saturday. How are you all doing today? I am super excited to be here today with you all. Um, before we start talking about today's subject, which is about client needs, I just wanted to take the time to apologize for not being here last Saturday. It was a little hectic on my end, but I'm here now. So there's yes. Um, hey love, how you doing? Nice to see you here. This month we are talking all about sort of like delivering your services. What does that mean? How to make that happen for yourself. And so this week I really wanted to concentrate like understanding like what your client really, really needs from you. Um, the rest of this month we'll be, talking about protecting your intellectual property, which I will have a workshop on later on this month, developing courses, workshops, speaking and coaching, that kind of thing. And if we have a little bit more time, maybe we'll talk about, what it means to become a health coach and whatnot. You love me, huh? Thank you. Love you too. um, and then I'll also be answering a question that I got in my DMs last week. So I'm super excited also about that as well. Now, if you haven't applied to be in my Be Successful official program, please make sure you make that happen. All you have to do is go to successful.biz. That's SCXCESSFUL.biz. And you can apply for my program there. You can also submit your questions anonymously, or you can go into my DMs. Okay. Give me your number. No, I will not give you my number. Interesting how you think you can demand things from me, but you can see me on here and you can ask me a question if it's related to business right here. Of course, you can always check out my Pillar website for more. That's pillar.io/ the number one, Marla Stewart. And yeah. So before I answer the question, I really want to go over how to figure out what your client really needs, right? Before they even ask. Because when you're asking your clients what you need, and I just did this in my newsletter, right? Like, what is it? It's a strength in your strategy. You really want to focus in on, what it is that they need. And I forgot to say, hey, I'm here live on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on YouTube, and on Instagram. And I'm happy to, answer any questions that you might have. And I'm Marla Renee Stewart, by the way, if you can't see that. Let's see. I'm from Morocco. I want to chat with you. Okay, well, you can chat with me, or you can put a question in my DM, but I'm not taking any Instagram chats at the moment. Okay, y'all. Okay, so how to figure out what you really want. So when you're thinking about your client, right? When you're really deeply understanding your client's needs, you can create services, content, the experiences, right? That will leave them, they want to feel seen, they want to feel satisfied, they want to feel supported, right? And so this is where your work begins. What are the things that you need to do to be effective in your strategies and how you deal with your clients' needs, right? So we're going to go over sort of 4 elements. 1, direct communication, what that looks like, observation and analysis, and thinking about market research as well. And then really kind of, fine tuning, right? Your approach for, lasting success. So the first thing you want to do is direct communication, right? Like I said, in my newsletter, I went and said, hey, what do y'all need from me? What is your number one issue, right? So if you want to know what your client needs, ask them, what do you need from me? How can I help you, solve a problem? And so the way to ask that can be in several different forms, right? So you can use surveys, you can do feedback forms, um, you can do client interviews, you can do focus groups, casual conversations, right? So if you're out and about networking, or maybe you're just, popping in, you're like, hey, what, what, what is it that like you really need from, like, if I were to serve you, what would be your need, right? And so questions like, what's one thing you wish someone would offer in this industry? Or what's been your biggest, frustration with past services like mine, right? And really asking those and really understanding what those answers are and then implementing them, that can be a really efficient way for you to get the answers that you need. And the second thing you want to do is observe and analyze your client behavior, right? So we all know that actions are going to speak louder than words. So sometimes your clients will, show you what they need based on how they're interacting with your offers, right? I mean, are they buying from you? So the things that you want to look at, right, are customer behavior tracking, right? So use analytics tools to track user behavior. And you can do that maybe on the back end of your website, right? So you could say like, hey, I am looking for, I'm seeing who is buying what from me, right? You can see how long they stay, what content gets skipped or ignored. You can also do client journey mapping, or figuring out what kind of journey you want your client to have, right? For me, with my successful program, right, I'm bringing them in maybe by my MetaProof marketing, right? From my MetaProof marketing, they might want another class, or they might come to my business marketing summit, which, by the way, is the beginning of July, y'all. Business marketing summit coming up. Liberated and lucrative is what it's called. Um, and client journey mapping, and then also social media listening, right? So what are people responding to, monitoring your comment section, tagging your posts, seeing, what community threads are, what's happening, what's trending, what are people complaining about, or what are people complimenting about, right? um, and so the pro tip here is just like, don't just watch what your clients like, right? Watch what they actually linger on. What is the thing that they're viewing the most? What's getting their attention the most, right? So if you're doing social media listening, maybe that's your reels or videos. Are they paying attention to these reels or videos? What does that mean exactly? Number three is sort of dig into market research and industry analysis, right? And you can do that through competitor analysis. So, what are other people who are in your space doing well? Where are they falling short? What are the kind of gaps that you can help to fill, right? In my previous talks, I talk about, doing a SWOT analysis on your competitors and really kind of identifying what those opportunities are for you, right? To kind of step in and fill that gap. You can also think about trend tracking, right? Staying up to date with consumer behavior trends in your industry. Are your clients shifting toward more accessible pricing, maybe? Are they demanding more customization? What are the things that they are wanting from you? And then, of course, what are your client demographics and psychographics, right? Just don't use the basic age, income, that kind of thing, right? What are your clients' values? What do they desire? What are their fears? What are their frustrations, right? Um, and the pro tip here is just like set up like a Google alert or subscribe to like relevant newsletters to stay informed without burning out. And again, you want to fine tune, test, and repeat. So all in the refining process. So, use A/B testing. When you're testing things, try two versions of a product or an email or a service and see, which one performs better for you. You want to do some iterative improvement, right? So build in kind of regular check-ins, monthly, quarterly, after every launch to assess what's working, what's not. And then, of course, create those feedback loops, right? Let your clients know their feedback made a difference. Hey, I got your feedback. Hey, this is what I'm starting to implement now that I got your feedback. So that you are aligned with their goals as well as your own, right? Um, and you can think about fine tuning as like relationship maintenance, right? What are the things that you need to do? You wouldn't ghost a partner, right? Don't ghost your clients' like evolving needs as well. So just know your clients are changing, they're growing, you got to change and grow with them, right? When people said, when I said, hey, what do y'all need? People are like, marketing, marketing, marketing. I said, okay, I'm listening, right? So then the business marketing summit came up, right? So that is what you do to try to serve your clients and what they need. But of course, you got to invest time, you got to invest intention into discovering what your clients really, really need. And that's where, the magic happens. That's where maybe the money happens. And so, yeah, make sure you check that out. So, with that said, I do have some questions for today. I got a question popped in my DMs on Instagram. And the question was, how can I secure funding for my project idea? So, this person wanted to do a TV show, and, that can be fabulous. But then you have to think about the cost, right? How do I make this more cost effective? What are the ways that I can ensure that I am doing the best that I can to get this project going, and hopefully maybe it'll take off, right? And so the ways to think about when you're securing funding is to go about it in a couple of ways. One is to look at grants, right? So look at grants for your project. Now, if you are an LLC, right, you're an entrepreneur, what you can do is have a fiscal sponsor for a particular project. So for instance, Sex Down South, the Sex Down South conference, we have our fiscal sponsor is Planned Parenthood Southeast, right? And so when people want to submit submit through our funder to get that donation, right? Because they're a 501c3, then they can go through there, and then Planned Parenthood Southeast will give us that money, right? So we are, so that is how we are working with our fiscal sponsor. So ensure you have a fiscal sponsor first. And so that means maybe going to people who are who have nonprofits, or going to a local nonprofit that is in alignment with your values, and see if they'll be a fiscal sponsor for you. The only thing about some fiscal sponsors is that they usually take up to about 10% of the funding. So that's also something to think about. Like if you do get funding in, so if you got $1,000 in, they're going to take 100 of those dollars. Some people take 5%, some people don't take any. So it's really just dependent on the fiscal sponsorship. In addition, you want to submit to some grants, right? So if you're doing filming or something along those lines in the creative arts, I would look for grants that are around creative art grants, right? So I would look for funding that has, something around films attached to them, maybe something around, like if you are a BIPOC person, usually there might be some funding around that. I know Trump has pulled away, a lot of people's funding, and people are a little kind of scared and whatnot, but there's still some funding out there because individual donors, people, regular folks who donate to organizations who then donate those funds to other people doing amazing projects. So definitely look out for grants, and that you can just go to like ChatGPT or something like that and just say like, hey, I need grants that are, that have to do with whatever project you're doing. So that's another way. So getting grants is one way. The other way that you would can secure funding is to create partnerships. And creating partnerships is similar to like sponsorships in a sense of like, hey, you are asking for money in exchange for something that they will get, right? So maybe that is advertising in your film, right? So maybe you have a background of something, right? Like you gotta, in your background, or how movies have all sorts of different advertisements kind of like in there on the sly. So advertisements are a really great way. There's also, what else is there? Um, you can do like social media, advertise on your email list, that kind of thing. So basically, you want to trade the things that you can do for money. So that's how you can bring in money. So if your sponsor or partner, finds that, hey, if I give you money and then we can exchange marketing, that would be great. So it just really depends on what you can offer that person. So that's another way you can secure funding. Another way to secure funding is to lean into the GoFundMe's of the world, right? So maybe that's a Kickstarter project, Indiegogo, GoFundMe, and just solicit donations that way, right? Ask your family and friends to say, hey, I have this amazing idea. I want to get off the ground. Will you donate a couple bucks my way so I can make this project happen? So that is another way. Whatever your thing is, maybe it's an event. You could sell tickets, right? So that's a really great way of securing funding. But yeah, if you want to secure funding before the project, and it's a pretty large project, I definitely suggest you going after grant money, doing maybe a GoFundMe, doing a partnerships, that kind of thing that can help you. So I hope you found that useful. Yeah, there are so many ways to secure funding, and that's really a great question. I actually should write about on my blog. That's a great question. How to secure funding. It's a great um, with projects. Of course, there's always different fundraising ideas, right? So for SDS, we are doing virtual webinars to get money in, right? And virtual webinars, those are essentially, low cost. So those are, helpful in providing for funding. So, all right, y'all, that is the end of my talk for today. Please make sure you come through next week, where I'll be talking about courses and workshops. And the following week, we'll be talking about protecting your IP. Make sure you sign up for the classes. And of course, Liberated and Lucrative is going to be coming at you in July. It is an intensive. So we will be working together. And then also, it will be recorded. So you will have the opportunity to view those recordings afterwards. And I think that is about it for me. I hope that you will, I'll see you next week. All right. Have a great Saturday. Again, my name is Marla Renee Stewart, part of the Be Successful coaching program. Please make sure you check that out at successful.biz. That's SCXCESSFUL.biz. All right, y'all. Have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Yes, I got to say bye. I got to play my music, don't I?